Hello there, creatures, and welcome to our inaugural live stream where I, James, am going to build a druid. So, a little bit of housekeeping right off the bat. We're going to use a couple of resources. Links to everything will be down in the description. The main three that we're going to use today are Archives of Nethys, the Pathfinder Wiki, and Path Builder. And those are the three tools that I tend to use when I'm coming up with, when I'm physically building the character and doing the research. So this is brand new to me, so if I have any vocal fry or anything like that, let me know. I am using a mechanical keyboard today and a fan in the background because we're just throwing caution to the wind and we're gonna have a good time, I hope. I got the chat monitoring next to me, so if you see me going left, that's where I'm going, is directly to their YouTube chat, so feel free to go in there. So this is going to be a backup character for our actual play, Stemming the Tide, where we're playing Paizo's Abomination Vaults. Again, links to everything is down in the description. And yeah, today I'm just going to walk you through my process of character building. So I've got all my things ready. I've got my notes where I can look through what kind of my process is. I've got those three websites up. I have a whiteboard just in case I need to do any scribbling. Yes, Alexandra, it is hot as balls in here. Thank you. So we're just going to start by talking about the game a little bit. So 2E is a fantastic game. The Abomination Vaults is a beautiful adventure path. And for those of you watching who are listening to the stream, this isn't a spoiler. I'm not going to be going into any detail about what's happening currently. I'm just making this because I've always wanted to build a druid, and I feel like this would be the most applicable way to tailor it into the live stream. So let's see how it goes. So I'm going to switch over from the head cam, and we're going to do a dash cam at this point. So I pulled up Archives of Nethys. This is the Pathfinder Wikipedia in case I need to look up any lore or anything like that. And this is the free PDF, the Abomination Vaults Player's Guide. Again, all of this stuff is available in the description, direct links to all that stuff. So the first thing I do when I come up with a character is come up with a concept. And I've kind of done that off mic a little bit. As I'm sure you can tell, we're going to be building a druid today in honor of my fiance who loves playing a druid. So that is why we're going to go that route. But I also love the idea of a druid. And more importantly, my idea for this character is a controller. I want like somebody in the battlefield who can change the dynamic of the battle without directly affecting one side or the other. So the characters that I played previously, nobody really does that, and I've always been interested in the druid. I played one in a live stream with Cam, and I never really got to see what he could do. So that's the idea here. And the beautiful part about something like this is that even if I build them with connections to Atari, they can actually slot into any other game. So if we decide we're going to pick up Fist of the Ruby Phoenix next, I can easily just build that druid up and slide that in there. So that's going to be our core concept. We're going to build a druid controller. So one of the things we want to think about is who this character is really. And one of the resources we're going to do one of the resources we're going to use to look into that is this Pathfinder Adventure Vaults, Pathfinder Abomination Vaults Player's Guide. So if we scroll through here, we'll see the coming together, the classes. I'll just zoom in a little bit. Sorry, Paizo, I hope this is cool. It's for free, so it should be okay. So we're going to look at a couple of the backgrounds that are provided in the adventure path. One of the things Paizo does is drop these player's guides for everybody, so it makes it a lot easier to tailor your character directly to the adventure path. But before we get into the backgrounds, we're not really going to worry about the Cosmic Caravan or Otari just yet. We want to find somewhere in this document is a list of like classes that work really well in this adventure path. Here we go. Classes right up here. This is something I love that Paizo does, and it really, really helps the characters shine. So in here, we don't really see anything. There's not a whole lot of, stuff like except avoid face characters realistically, because this is a dungeon dive. I hope that's not spoiling anything for for the adventure path. The languages section here is also very important. So we've got Elven, Undercommon, and Aklo. So I'm going to switch over to Excel. Excel is one of the other things I always have open. We're going to go with languages, Aklo, Common, which, you know, is pretty obvious. Oh, it's Undercommon. Undercommon. And Elven. And that's not how you spell Undercommon. Cool. So we know that immediately. Let's take a look at the alignment here. You know, nothing really. Ancestries. Otari is a small town, so you need to take that into consideration. But I'm not sure my character is going to be from Otari yet, just connected in some way. So we've got our lores here. We've got Spirit lore, Otari lore, Caravan lore. You know, those are fine. And the backgrounds, which are probably a little more interesting. Yes, yeah, I'm sure you did see the Boss Grong artwork, and I appreciate all the love for the beard. So we've kind of gone over that a little bit, and let's start digging into it. You know, we've done a very quick flyby overview of what this character is, and kind of what role I want him to fill. It is going to be male, I think. I don't know why. I never really choose my gender of my character. It's the first one that pops into my head. Sometimes they're male, sometimes they're female, sometimes they're gender neutral, sometimes they're transgender. Doesn't really matter. It's just my first instinct. Is this a man? And in this case, it is a man. So the next thing I really want to think about is the city of Otari. So I'm building this character up at 8th level because that's going to be a level we're hitting very soon. And one of the things I need to consider is, why hasn't this extra powerful being been in Otari previously? So where have they been? Have they been away? Have they been excommunicated? Are they out doing something else? Like that, those are very important questions when you get to higher levels, because you can't just drop an 8th level PC in the middle of a small town like Otari and just say that they've been there forever. I mean, you can, but there's no verisimilitude to that, in my opinion, and that's not how I do it. I like building firm, grounded connections to the world. So this Druid, this controller Druid, isn't from Otari. Maybe they were born there or what have you. But currently they can't really be there. Otherwise, why haven't they joined the party yet? So my idea is that they've been out of the town for a little while. Maybe they were born in Otari. We'll flush all that stuff out when we get to ancestry and background and that kind of stuff. But currently we now know it's a Druid. We now know it's going to focus on controlling. We know it's a male. We know they may have been from Otari originally, but they're not currently located in Otari. So once we start looking into backgrounds and aspects of the classes and stuff like that, we can really start to flush out why they're not currently in Otari. So let's take a look. There should be a little information on Otari's Druid Circle in here, which is great, because Otari, if we look at this map up here, again, sorry, Paizo, number 3 right here, is, if you scroll down here, is the Stone Ring Pond, surrounded by ancient standing stones. But this is also where, if I remember this correctly, where the Druids hang out. This is kind of their place of worship. So, and here's a great little summary of Otari that Paizo's done. I totally just blew past this, but this is fantastic. This is really good information. There's a population density chart here. So 2% Goblin, 3% Half-Orcs, 5% Dwarves. So that's great. We can see our common languages here, so we can add those to our spreadsheet over here. So we've got Undercommon, Aklo, we've got Dwarven, Halfling. Okay, so far these are all the languages that make sense. Let's bold the Adventure Path exclusive ones, just so we know where they're out, and we can take a look back at those a little bit later. So let's take a look. The gathering places, landmarks, this is what we want to look for. The Giant's Wheel, Stone Ring Pond, here we go. 24 standing stones, 12 feet high, standing like sentries in the shores of a shallow pond. The site is usually occupied by a polite group of pilgrims, and a nature priest, Warlowind, permanently resides there. She helps the loggers with their harmonious nature, so that's great. And then let's Control F Warlowind, and there's nothing else in the character PDF, which is fine. We can dig into some of that stuff a little bit later in the Pathfinder wiki, so we'll just Control V Warlowind in there. And when you're on the Pathfinder wiki, you need to be very careful of spoilers. So we now know that Warlowind is a gnome druid who lives near the Stone Ring Pond overlooking Otari, which is great. That's all we needed to know, and this is the entirety of their page. So, okay, we've confirmed that there is at least one druid, and I know for a fact in our game that Standing Stone is quite a few druids. So we've got a place that they can be connected to. We have the concepts, the builds. So let's start. Let's move over to Archives of Nethys and start digging into some of the aspects of the character themselves. So we're going to start with the class, which is great because we already know what the class is, so we don't even have to narrow that down a little bit. For those of you who don't know, Archives of Nethys has this handy little pop-up up here in the top right corner. You can't see it, but if you go up here, there's a little palette and paintbrush, and it'll pop up the side menu. I hate the new side menu, the modern menu, so that's off. I always enable the link previews, and then I've got it on the Blackbird theme here. So that will go down to class, and we know we can go directly to Druid, and this is the weirdest alphabetical order I've ever seen, but here we go. Okay, so now we're on the page, and we can take a look at Druid. So we know our key ability modifier is Wisdom, so that means we need to max out our Wisdom if we can. So that's great. Let's throw that in there. And we'll look at role-playing in Druid, social encounters while exploring. So as a dungeon dive, while exploring becomes very important. So they become a tracker used to navigate the wilderness, as well as some magic stuff, which is perfect. That's exactly what we want. The initial proficiencies are great. So now we know it's trained in perception, which is fantastic, and we know that right off the bat we're going to be an expert in will, so that's going to be our big save, which is great. And then we've got nature and a skill determined by our druidic order, and then a number of skills 2+ our intelligence modifier. So most of this stuff we're going to have Path Builder do for us, which I don't have open because I normally don't do it in this tab, but it's just pathbuilder2e.com. Again, all the links are in the description. You go to the web builder. There we go. And then we're going to go up to the top menu here. The first thing we're going to do is, actually, you know what? We're not going to do it here. I'm going to change this screen while I open up our company Chrome profile, where we're actually logged in and where we actually store all the Path Builder stuff directly in the drive. So here we go. We're back to Path Builder. We'll accept. Okay, we'll accept that. This is actually great if it's your first time. So they lay it out step by step for you, right? Path Builder, it's a new feature, but it's absolutely beautiful. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to log in. We'll cut away from that because I don't need to fuck up the live stream that quickly. Okay, we'll cut back. So we're logged in. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make sure that we are saving this character. There should be a way to save it to the Google Drive, but I don't see it. It's normally in here. So we'll deal with that later. I mean, worst case scenario, I always have the live stream to fall back on. So we'll go up here, we'll click Druid, click accept. There we go, save to G Drive, which is perfect because this is where we save all of our characters. That way Freeman can access them and put them in a Foundry if we need them. Unknown Adventurer. James is live. Druid. Perfect. So we'll pop that out of the way. We will go back to AON. And now we can start looking at class features. This is where the character really starts to flush out in my head. So you get an ancestry in your background, which we'll go over later. Initial and spellcasting proficiencies, anathema, druidic language, druidic order, shield block, and wild empathy. Okay. So this is interesting because I don't know what wild empathy is, even though I have built a druid before. So we'll scroll down. Archives has it all laid out. So after this header class features, it all comes in order of the level. So you can see right there, there's the ancestry background, there's the initial proficiencies, just like they're listed here. So we want the last of first level, which is wild empathy, which is here. So we have a connection to the natural world, and yeah, okay. So we can use diplomacy to make an impression on animals. That's great. Shield block, great. You guys know I love my shields. Here's the fun one. Here's where we start to specialize, and this is the druidic order. So focus spells, which I don't care for, but we'll deal. So we'll look into druidic orders next. Okay, so we've got animal, flame, leaf, stone, storm, wave, and wilds. And one of the things I love about this website is you can see when they were released. So flames, we know, was released in Secrets of Magic. No, Scott, I'm not going to leak your backups, but thank you so much for joining in. Okay, so let's take a browse through these. So animal is a beast companion, athletics, heal animal. That's great. Flame is destruction and whatever sucker means. So let's find out what that means. Succor, assistance in support of times of hardship or distress. And destruction. Okay. Acrobatics, fire lung druid feat. So proximity to flames. We ignore concealment from smoke. That's pretty cool. Our DC to recover from persistent fire is lowered. Also interesting. The wildfire spell. This is a 2-action sustained up to 1 minute. Becomes hazardous terrain. Okay, so that's a controller spell right off the bat. That's really interesting. This one's also particularly interesting to me because the idea of them having this love for a flame would be a very easy way to have them, or a very easy reason for them to have been expelled, which is great. We got Leaf here, which is, I think this is more of the healer one. Yeah, Goodberry, Leshy Familiar, Diplomacy. We're going to skip right over that because I've been a healer. And as much as they're valuable, they're not what I'm interested for this character. Okay, Stone, Steadfast, Crafting, which is great. Steadying Stone. Okay, that's a balance thing versus Shove or Trip, which is interesting. And saving throws that would knock you prone. Interesting. And Crushing Ground. This is another focus spell. This is a 1-round spell. We tear the ground open and slam it shut. 2d6 with a reflex save. Okay, and this is, I love this. So if the target fails, they take full damage, flat-footed, and a -10 circumstance to speed. So as much fun as the critical fail effects are, I very rarely consider them when I'm looking at spells because I very rarely think that they're going to get amped up. So sometimes if I'm building a character like a debuff, I'll take more heed of the critical failures, but currently the two that I'm most interested are success and failure. And since this isn't save or suck, Crushing Ground becomes very interesting to me. And then we've got Storm, which is acrobatics, Stormborn Druid feat. Elements, that's great. I was a Storm Druid in Cam's live stream for charity back in December. So as much as I'm interested in this, I think I'm going to leave this one alone. Wave, so this is water, which is really interesting. You're like a water bender. Medicine, Shore Step. Yeah, ignore difficult terrain from water. Rising Surf. You essentially just Iceman around on a wave. That's pretty cool. Yeah, pollution, whatever. That's very Captain Planet, and while that's interesting, that's not the controller. Like, that doesn't immediately strike me as controller. This strikes me as another support class, which a lot of druids are going to be support classes, don't get me wrong, but The what I have in my mind is somebody who controls the battlefield and really plays with the topography. So Wild Druid is the last one on this list. Intimidation, that's interesting. Wild Shape, also very interesting. Wild Shape is the 2E equivalent to the class Shifter from 1E, or at least very similar. So this means you take on aspects of your bestial side as opposed to actually becoming the beast. So that can be very interesting. And the Wild Morph spell, which is great. This is a focus 1. Excuse me. And you just wild shape in and out. Again, you're transforming parts. So hands into claws, beaks, elemental shape, plant shape, that kind of stuff. So that's also very interesting, but I don't know if that's going to be for me. This Flame Druid's really, really speaking to me right now. So I think we're going to go with that because I like the way we can build it in. Maybe they started a fire when they were a kid and there's a little bit of pyromania involved in there. Or maybe there's a repentance, like it's a self-repentance, like Zuko, like needed to go out and, prove themselves worthy. I know that's not technically the Zuko story, but it becomes the Zuko story when you watch it all the way through. So we're going to go with Flame Druid, I think. That's great. So we have our class and we have our specialty. Acrobatics, Fire Lung, Wildfire. I think that Wildfire one is going to be pretty interesting. So we will go back to our Path Builder over here. And we will go Druidic Order, Flame Order. Except, little chat break here, talking about feats. Random Gaijin and had a Leshy Druid. That would be fun. That would be really fun. I love Leshies. I think they're really cool and they're really cute. But again, for this particular build, I don't think it fits. I mean, I might go back and change my mind because Leshies are pretty dope. And Water Break, because apparently talking for 30 minutes is a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. Okay, let's just go down the line here and let's look at backgrounds next. So, backgrounds. Let's pull back open that Abomination Vaults PDF and go back up to that background section because maybe there'll be something interesting in here. So we got the Bibliophile. Nope. Eldritch Anatomist. Nope. Fogfen Taleteller. Nope. Market Runner. Absolutely not. Ruin Delver. Okay, I don't know what this is. So let's take a closer look at this. Built up. We've never quite built up the courage to check out the creepy lighthouse called the Gauntlet. You've heard these ruins are well picked over, mostly collapsed. Dex, Athletics, Roseguard, Lore, Catfall, Skill Feat. Okay, so that's out. It's cool, and I like it a lot, but it doesn't really interest me in this way. I think I want this character to be like a little meek, about their abilities, but also very confident in other aspects. Like, so maybe they're a confident tractor and they're very well trained in survival. But we'll take a charisma dump because they've been a hermit for a little while. So that actually reminds me, hermit might be a good background to look at. So we've got Star Watcher. Nope. Witchlight Follower. Interesting. Well, in a dismal forest or remote swamp, you caught sight of a string of lights bobbing through the trees. Then you remember the rumors. These are will-o-wisps. And you... Okay. Never been resolved to never let the strange lights of a remote wilderness claim you again. That's interesting. 2 ability boosts. 1 must be Dex and Wisdom. The other, you're trained in Survival and Explore. We gain terrain expertise with both swamp and subterranean bodies of water. Okay, we're gonna throw that in. I like that. I think that's an interesting one. It's not what I had in mind initially, but the idea of this druid who accidentally maybe burnt down their hut because they were under the thrall of these evil wisps, or maybe they charred one of their friends or something as a very X-Men-ish coming of age tale. As opposed to Cyclops, who when his brain exploded out of his eyes, he went away to a special school. There's also Havoc, his younger brother, who, when his powers blew out of his chest, so Havoc can't control any of his abilities, he was essentially quarantined for a very long time until they were able to build him a suit. And I believe that wasn't until like Uncanny X-Men in the late 60s, somewhere in the 60s or 80s or something like that. So that's interesting. That could be a cool story pull right there. Okay, so let's keep that open, but let's head back over to Path Archives of Nethys, and we'll check out our backgrounds here. So there are some filtering abilities here, which is fine. Let's get rid of the rare ones, because I don't feel like asking Freeman for permission, because he's not on the stream. I believe he's at work. So let's take a look. Academic Dropout, no. Acolyte, no. Anything that says Alkenstar, we're out. Anti-tech activist, we're out. Archaeologist, interesting. So let's pop a tab with that. Artisan, artist, astrologer, bandit, barber, barkeep. A lot of these are socially social themed, and that's not going to be it. Cook could be interesting. For those of you who don't know, I was a chef for about 20 years. So, or I worked in restaurants for about 20 years is a more accurate way of pronouncing that. So the cook background has always had a special place in my heart. Yo, in the chat, let me know if I'm talking too fast. It feels like I'm talking fast, but I also don't want this to be boring. Entertainer, false medium, farmhand, nope, firebrand follower. Okay, that's interesting. Interesting. I don't know what a firebrand is, but we'll find out. Oh, fireworks performer. That could be cool. Like some Wheel of Time shit going on there. Free spirit, gambler, gladiator, grave robber, guard, gunsmith, herald, herbalist. Yeah, that could work. Hermit will crack open. Hired killer, hounded thief, hunter. Hunter will crack open. Why not? Junker, laborer, mechanic, miner, night watch, noble, nomad will crack open. That would also explain why they haven't been in Otari currently. Maybe they're coming back because they heard about the Gauntlet activating and they decided that even though they were exiled from their town, they need to be there to help support it. Okay, cool. Chat says I'm not talking too fast. Always a concern when you're talking to yourself, realistically. Pyre tender. Okay, that's interesting. So this would be somebody who builds funerary pyres. And, you know, maybe that's how they put this this haunted gift to use. Yeah, right? There are some other people in the chat here who have to keep themselves from taking chef as well. That's great. Scavenger could be cool. Survival, forager, that's great. Scholar, scout could also be cool. I love scouts. I think that's such a cool background, and I've always wanted to build one. And I think this could be an interesting way. You'll find very, very soon that I will just have this whole thing filled with Chrome tabs before we're done here. I know you can't see it because I cut it off at the top, but yeah, there is a lot. Translator Trailblazer could be kind of cool. Some Magellan shit, or Lewis and Clark for our American friends. Okay, so that's a pretty big list. So let's start weeding some of this shit out based on what we know about the characters so far. So archaeologist, excavated enough sites to know ancient citizens aren't lost. Constitution intelligence, interesting. Society, architectural lore, and an additional lore related to an ancient culture. So that could be particularly useful, especially if they're an archaeologist. Scott is Sage Tulok in the chat here is asking me if I don't want to be a tax collector. So this is not related to the Druid stream at all, but okay. In my head and in my heart, I've always had this idea for like a geomancer, so a wizard who specifically uses like earthen terrain and stuff like that, like an evoker essentially, but with a specialty in earth movement, who they're not this grandiose, beautiful wizard. They're actually just a city planner, and that's what they do. And they would have like a barrister kind of background. So I love those mundane backgrounds, and I think it's so interesting to make a hero that's tied into the culture of the society. But this one, this is a boy who played with fire. So unfortunately, we can't go with tax collector, my dude. But you know what? Next stream, I'll build you a tax collector. Maybe there'll be a fighter tax collector or a swashbuckler tax collector or something like that. That could be kind of interesting. Okay, so we go back to archaeologist. This is interesting. It's not on the top of my list, so we'll go to, just put it down here. Archaeologist. Okay. I'm pretty sure that's how you spelt it. And you know what? In case I close it, we'll Command C, highlight that cell, Command K, Command V, enter, and now that's a hyperlink. This is why I use Excel. Okay, cook, here we go. Grew up in kitchens of dining establishments. Con intelligence, still not kind of what I'm looking for. We're already trained in survival. And then seasoned is meal preparation. So as much as I love it and I think it fits, we're going to take a pass on cook. So firebrand follower. We were once rescued by a hopeless situation by a group of firebrands. And we have decided to continue their legacy. Okay, let's double check what firebrand means, because honestly, I'm now not 100% sure. Just highlight that, search Google. Person who's passionate about a particular use case. Okay, so they're political radicals. Yeah, that interests me substantially less. So let's close out of there. Fireworks performer. Okay, celebration Tianjia. Tianjia is across the ocean from Galarian. So this could be a reason that they haven't been there. Intelligence, charisma, performance, engineering lore. Fascinating performance. Interesting. And I like it, but I don't think it's right for this. This would be a really cool background for like a Magus, I think. You know, you get that fascinating performance right off the bat. You've got a high intelligence, a high charisma. But for a druid, I don't think this is going to flip. Hermit, remote, cool. Con or intelligence, still kind of not the wisdom that we're looking for. But nature, occultism, and lore. Okay. I mean, we'll put that one on the back burner too. So Command C. We'll throw that here. I actually like that one less than archaeologist, so we'll put it below. Command V to make that a hyperlink. Hunter. So this was my background in the live stream with the wild druids. So the reason I took this background in that live stream is because the character's parents owned a tannery and something else that used another part of the animal. So it made a lot of made a lot of sense to have a hunter in the family. So unfortunately for this druid, I don't know what their family situation looks like currently. So having them be a hunter, while they will be skilled in survival and hunting and all of that stuff, I don't know if that's going to be their thing. You know, like that's going to be their defining characteristic. Other than the fact that they're, you know, fucking nature magic. So we'll get it a hunter there. Mr. LaRock in the chat has given me the definition of firebrands, which is great. I really appreciate that. Yeah, loose organization of daredevils, liberators, fighters against injustice with a reputation for sowing chaos. Yeah, so that's not going to be our guy. So we'll go back here and we will check out the nomad. This is great. Constitution, wisdom. There we go. There's that wisdom we were looking for. Training in survival and a lore related to our terrain. Assurance with the survival feat. Okay, so assurance is a really interesting feat in the way that most people don't think it's particularly interesting. But I have this penchant to lean for towards shit that just doesn't fly, kind of. So assurance, when you roll the skill you're trained in, we can forego rolling and just add 10 to our proficiency bonus. So if we got a 7 in survival, instead of rolling, we could just take a 17. Which is something I really like. I think it's a really interesting way to do it. And it's also, again, it assures you the roll. So as long as your survival skill is high enough, that could be valuable to a degree. If you know, like the sense direction DC is something like 15, and you know you've got a 5, you just auto hit that, which is great. Control V. So we'll throw nomad in there. We'll throw it a little bit lower because I'm still kind of leaning towards archaeologist because I like that. I think that's cool. We will look into pyre tenders now. So experienced at building funeral pyres. The Lindhorn Kings, which is pretty far north. It's near the River Kingdoms. Or Cheliax of Vudra. Or have been a backwoods coal burner using the right mixture of alchemy to act as an accelerant. However you worship, you know nothing sends off the departed like a flame. Okay, so I actually really like this background. The only thing that's keeping me from this being the top of the list is that alchemical crafting. And there's nothing saying my druid can't be, well versed in alchemy, but to me this isn't. I don't know if this is right but I do like it, so we'll throw it up here. Pyre tender, Control K, Control V. Oh no! There we go. Crisis averted. Okay, Scavenger, you made a living sorting through things society has thrown away. Wisdom, survival, lore, forager, skill feat. Okay, what is forager? Well, using survival to subsist if you roll. Okay, so we don't really do that in our game just because we're so close to town. But, it wouldn't be the first feat I had that I never used. But so we'll throw Scavenger on the list. I'm not sure if this is where it belongs, but we're not here being clean and neat. We're just getting her done. All right, so Scout is up next. Called the Wilderness Home as you found trails, guide. Okay, serve as a scout for soldiers. So maybe that's how they're serving their penance, because we got a dexterity or wisdom boost here, which is great. And then again, we get that forager skill, which kind of, less than ideal, but it could be useful in a dungeon dive at some point. At least further down we get closer to the ground or what have you. So I like this one. I've always liked the Scout. I think it's really, really interesting thematically. So we're going to throw that up here with the Pyre Tender. And the reason I think this could be interesting is because maybe it's not the Wanderlust that called them to the adventuring life. It's the exile. So maybe that's how they're serving their penance, is they found like a righteous battle that they really believed in, and instead of picking up arms, they decided to try and save other people. So there's a redemption arc there that's always been very interesting. Okay, Trailblazer. Uncharted realms have always intrigued you. You explore the map, large territories, service to merchants, your own curiosity. Where some see a blank spot on a map, you see potential for something new and undiscovered. Okay, so the reason I'm gravitating towards this is because I feel this. Like this is very close to my heart, and the only thing I'm reticent about adding this to the Druid is because it's so close to me, that piece may flourish in this character, and I'm not sure that this is the part of me I want to invest in this character. Because I didn't have the time to invest my intelligence into Small like I would have liked, like a very careful and educated combatant. Like Gilda, I play a little more loose and free. She's young, so that's why I play her that way. But when I built Small was a smart fighter, and he took a bunch of feats to do that. So this Trailblazer could be an interesting one to actually let some of that aspect of my personality shine. So let's throw that in there. Cartography lore is interesting because we do have some maps, so I could read the maps, or I could even make maps of the Gauntlet, which could be pretty useful for like new party members coming in or anything like that. If we do another like Raphael rotation or something. And terrain expertise is always great, especially considering I can make it underground or swamp, because it would technically be the Gauntlet, but. Again, if they don't exist in Otari, it wouldn't feel right to me to make like min-max the terrain expertise to something like underground because of that's where we're going. I'm not saying I won't. Yeah, Scott says my druid puts the blaze in Trailblazer, and you're absolutely right. Johnny Blaze. Yeah. There we go. Johnny Blaze. So some of you are going to watch this at some point and wonder why I'm spelling all of the names very poorly. And the reason is because I watch a lot of Scott the Waz, and he always puts his name into stuff, but he always spells it wrong, and I love it. That's why for a long time, Scott in the Discord's name was Scoot, because that was one of the names that he put in. Check out Scott the Waz on YouTube if you're into long form content and like really hardcore satirical stuff. He's a funny guy. Okay, so that is all of the yeah, that's all the backgrounds that really stood out to me. So let's narrow the list down a little bit here. Okay, so we have Witchlight Follower. Let's find Witchlight Follower in here so we can add an actual hyperlink. It's probably under rare. Witchlight. Witch Follower? Okay. Did I get that name wrong? Witchlight Follower. No, I did not. Oh, here we go. Okay. So I am not gonna put that up on the stream for too long because I don't want it to spoil anything. You know what? There's no spoilers here. Okay, so we need to narrow that down. What background are we going to do? So we got Trailblazer, Witchlight Follower, and I think Archaeologists are my top three. You know, I'm obviously putting a little too much of myself in there. What do you guys think in the chat? Let me know. You think Witchlight Follower, Trailblazer, or Archaeologist? I think I could make all those work thematically. So shout that shit out for me. While we do that, we'll take a look at what is next in the queue. So up next is we play with an optional archetype. So essentially, we're going to do the exact same thing. That's not how you spell archetype, is it? No, there's an extra E in there. Archetype. There we go. Okay. Let us take a peruse through there while I wait for the chat's feedback on my background. Let's see what really, if anything, jumps out to me. We got one vote for Archaeologist. That's great. Put a 1 there. Okay. Acrobat, Eldori, Alkenstar, Alter Ego, Animal Trainer, Archaeologist. Okay. Interesting. Archer. Interesting. Probably not the right move because we're playing underground, but interesting. Assassin, we can skip right over. Bastion, Beastmaster. Also interesting. I'm gonna open up Beastmaster. That could be interesting. Blessed One, no thanks. Bounty Hunter, no thanks. Bright Lion. Nope. Walkina. Bullet Dancer. Captivator, nope. Cavalier, Celebrity, Chrono Skinner, Clockwork Corpse, Crystal, Dandy, Demolitionist Dragon, Drow. No, there's not really a whole lot here that's striking out to me. Elementalist, okay, let's pop that open. Familiar Master, let's pop that open. That could be fun. Fireworks Technique, okay. You know what? That's from. Yeah, you know what? Let's pop it open. Normally, I just pass by stuff from Guns and Gears, but let's see what happens. Let's pop open Folklores too, because that could be kind of interesting. Geomancer, that's the background I was talking about for that city planning wizard. Ghost would be kind of fun. Ghost Hunter, Ghoul, Gladiator, Golem Grafter. I want to play a Golem Grafter so bad. Grey Gardener is kind of cool, but probably not for this character. Definitely not a Necromancer or a Howler. Hell Knights. Nope. Herbalist. Yeah, it fits thematically. I don't know if it'll be interesting. Knights, Last Wall, Lich, Linguist, Lion Blade, Living Vessel, Lore Master, also interesting. Let's pop that open, see what happens there. Magic Warrior, Marshal. Okay, let's pop that open because that could be interesting too, even though they are, it is face adjacent. Oh, we got another vote from Scoot for Archaeologist. Martial Artist, Mauler, Medic, Mindsmith, Mummy. Let's pop that open. Natural or ritualistic means. Yeah, let's keep that one open. Let's see what happens. Maybe it's a mummy. Oozemorph. I love the Oozemorph background. I think that's really cool. Pact Binder, Pathfinder, Agent, Pistol Phenom, Poisoner, Provocateur, Psychic Reanimator, Red Mantis, Ritualist, Rune Lord, Rune Scarred, Scions, Scout. Let's pop that one open too, see what happens. Scroll Master, Scrounger could be kind of cool. Sentinel, no thank you. I mean, the Sentinel's cool, I like the Sentinel, but no. Shield Marshal, no. Six Pillar, Snare Crafter. Let's pop that one open. Sniping Duo, Soul Warden, Soul Forge, Spell Trickster, Spell Master, Spell Shot. Spell Shot, nope. Staff Acrobat, let's pop that one open. Student of Perfection, Swordmaster, Talisman, Time. Let's pop open Trapsmith. Jesus, there are a lot here. Trick Driver. Undead, Unexpected, Vampire, Vigilante, Viking, Weapon Improviser, Wrestler, Zombie. Okay, so let's start with those guys. Let's pop open the Archaeologist. Scholarly Learning, Training, interesting. All right, let's check out some of these feats. We're on the list. No. Why? What? No. Why is that third level? Okay. Yeah, that gives me, cults. No. I think this might be better for like a martial class, like a thief or a ranger or something like that. But since this is already spell based and our first fourth level spell is spell heavy, and then this one's all lore based, and the lore based stuff is interesting, but let's get rid of the Archaeologist. Okay, Beast Master. This could be cool. So we get an animal companion right off the bat. As much as I don't really care for playing animal companions, I think it could be interesting for this particular character. Their only friend is a dog or some shit. Obviously, I would try and choose something a little more interesting than a dog, but I have played a ranger with a dog before, so. Young animal companion, heal animal, magic hide. A lot of this stuff I think we're already going to get as a druid, but let's throw it on the list anyway. Let's throw it down here. Beast Master. Okay, elementalists. Ooh, okay. We do have primal spellcasting, the elemental spell list. Okay. This would be more fit for Storm Order Druid, so we can cancel that. Familiar Master. We don't actually. We won't have a familiar, or will we? Druids get familiars, or do they get animal companions? Because I know mathematically they're different. I think they get animal companions. Shout out in the chat if you know. Druid class feats. Yeah, they get animal companions, so we can just close out a familiar there. Firework Technician. You might be an itinerant wanderer. Perfect. Okay. Dedication, we get fireworks lore. Alchemical crafting. Okay. We get a 1-3 action to launch fireworks. This is looks like an alchemical magic missile kind of thing. Comet, bright line, flower, salute. Okay. Coughing dragon at 4th level, which is 2 actions. Uses 2 batches of reagents. Okay, we're getting into really alchemical stuff. So I love math and numbers and calculating shit, as I'm sure some of you already know. But the idea of having spells, focus spells, which I already hate, and then alchemical reagents to take care of, no, not today. I like the firework tech. I think it's interesting so far, but not for this character. Maybe for I don't even know what class that would go well with. Most spellcasters are bards. All right. Yeah, big shout out in the chat for bookbinding lore. Folklorists, welcome across the Mwangi Expanse, a reason that they would have been roaming. Dedication, we get Spin Tail. The hero gains +1 status bonus to attack rolls. Okay, so this is kind of bardy, which is interesting, but not for the nomadic wanderer that we want. This could be cool for like a pirate, I think. Like this would be a really interesting addition to like a swashbuckler. Herbalist, the most boring, and I see alchemy already, so let's just close that because I don't want to fuck with it right now. I will at some point make an alchemist. Maybe that'll be our next stream. Cam has mentioned that they want to be on the stream to pick me apart while this is happening, which would be a lot of fun. So, Lore Master, knowledge is power. Of course it is. What does the dedication give us? It gives us decipher writing, recall knowledge, Lore Master lore, which can be used for any recall knowledge, which is very interesting because we've got that that research function. Bardic lore class feat. So Bardic lore is same thing. We can recall knowledge on any using anything. I believe archetypes don't require prerequisites, so we wouldn't need the Enigma Muse here. Lore Master's Etude. Yeah, that's essentially advantage for Lore Masters. Guidance Message Sigil is occult cantrips. I like this. I think this is interesting, but no, this isn't speaking to me. Marshals are leaders, any class or background, willing to sacrifice their own glory for the good of the team. This could fall into the redemption story arc. What does the dedication give us? Emotional, mental, visual traits. Okay, so this immediately gives us a fear aura. Shades of Gilda there, which is great. I actually really like passive abilities. Derving's cunning stance. Trained in deception. Okay, so this is another Firebrand's feat, which I don't mind. But we also here have Dread Martial Stance. So there's intimidation here, which could be kind of cool. It's 1 action, which is great. This is another 4th level feat. Success, the auras. Okay. Okay, so this increases the Marshal's aura if I get a critical success, which is interesting, and it grants us and allies a status bonus to damage rolls equal to the number of weapon damage dice of the unarmed or weapon that you're wielding. When you're an ally critically hits with the strike, the enemy is frightened 1. So again, I really like this. Excuse me. This is passive. It's a single action, and a success doesn't do anything, but a critical success makes this really, really quite unique. Critical failure, you can't take the stance for a minute. That's fine. Inspiring martial, so it's pretty much the same thing, but for diplomacy, which I don't think we would need. So let's throw the martial on. I think that could be really fun. I'm gonna throw it a little bit higher, especially with that Dread martial stance, because I think we should lean into intimidation. So let's intimidation. Cool. I gotta stop looking at Discord while we're doing this. Yeah, okay, so Marshall's on the list. Okay, we'll leave Mummy for last, because I think I don't think I'm gonna get to play a Mummy, but that would be really interesting. Scout. Oh, the chat has spoken. We are going with the... Where is it? Archaeologist campaign background. Cool. Great. We have somebody who's gone away for some reason. Gone into a bunch of weird places. I might change the archaeologist depending on what... Because if we take the martial feat, that may not fly. Yeah, okay. Let's look at the scout dedication feat. Highly skilled scout. Scout's warning ranger feat. So this is a free action, giving us a +1 to initiative rolls. Yeah, I fuck with that. Anytime I'm about to roll a perception or survival check. So that's not active for me, but it would be active for everybody else, which is really interesting. And this stacks with the scout ability, so this could be really cool. 4th level feats are Eclipsed Vitality, shroud ourselves in ashes that hide the vital essence. Oh, this is some Predator shit. Okay. So we can foil life sense, and we are concealed to any creature using life sense to observe you. Cool. I dig it. This requires mastery in stealth, though, so that's less than ideal. Let's take a look at Rebel's map. There's another Firebrands thing. Rebellion. Yeah. Okay, Scout's charge. Choose one enemy stride. Feint against the opponent, and then make a strike against the foe. Oh, Cam is assuring me that they have in fact made it into the chat, as opposed to just bumping up our numbers off stream there, which is great. I appreciate it. Love having you here, buddy. Okay, so Scout's charge. Stealth instead of deception, that's required. Feint. Okay, that's interesting. There are a lot of 4th level scout feats here. Terrain Stalker. What is Terrain Stalker? Difficult terrain, following lists. Okay, that's less interesting. However, it would be cool if we followed the expert, but that's not a thing we've ever really used to the degree. But I do like this. I think that that Scout's charge and the Eclipsed Vitality are both pretty interesting. So let us throw that on the list around Marshall. Those are our top 2 choices so far. Okay, then we have the Scrounger. I immediately see crafting, and I'm immediately out. Okay, Snare Crafter. This is more of a ranger thing. And they make snares, which could be interesting, you know, for a druid. Like, there's nothing saying a druid can't use snares. What does the dedication give you? Snare Specialist, Formula Book. Right, so snares are also kind of alchemical, and the rules around them when I played a snare ranger for a one-shot that will never see the light of day, the rules were pretty nebulous, so, and I don't know if they've been changed, so for the purposes of this stream, we're just gonna... Okay, so the only reason I chose Staff Acrobat is because druids tend to come with a cantrip called Shillelagh, or I think in this one it's a focus spell. Or a focus cantrip. Maybe it's not. But Shillelagh essentially makes your staff more more hardcore. So this is interesting. So this turns you into like Little John, where you get a high jump, leap, +2 to athletics. Yeah, okay. I can get behind this. Let's take a look at the 4th level feats. Just the 1. And you can shove or trip creatures up to 2 sizes larger than you. I really like this. Dex 16. So we'd have to have a high dex. But I think this could be cool. Let's put that above. Staff sweep. Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's great. You can trip up to 2 foes, like levering strike. Target's flat-footed and a -2 to its DCs. You can smack and knock off. Like, that's great. So that's pretty high on the list. So the last one we're going to look at is the Mummy, even though I know Freeman probably won't let me take it, but I love that idea. And before we get into the Mummy, we're just going to take a quick little 10-minute break here so I can get some more water and hydrate, because I'm getting kind of parched. But thanks everybody for showing up so far, and I hope to see you again in the second half. And we are back. And as promised, we will take a look at, excuse me, at the mummy archetype here. Holy shit, gone for 10 minutes and already lost all my train of thought. So here we go. Mummy. Common funeral rites becoming a limited mummy dedication. Natural processes, which is absolutely which is absolutely possible. You've risen an undead mummy. You gain the mummy and undead traits and basic undead healing. Yeah, I mean, I love this. Damage die first is D6. You can draw moisture from the living by touch. Amazing. So essentially, you become a punch mummy, which is great. We all know I love to punch. So we are unhindered by local weather at 4th level. Or here we go. The semblance of life. You draw the moisture you drained from others into your own flesh, temporarily taking on the appearance of life. This has the effect of illusory disguise. That's just metal. Again, Freeman's not going to let me do this. I don't think. Shoot him an email at info@unchartednorth.ca if you think I should play mummy. Or if you're in our Discord, just add him routinely. My mummy flame druid, which is just insane in its own right. But it would explain the archaeologist dedication, because it's not an actual archaeologist. They just lived through that time period, which could be real neat. I think we're gonna call it a day there, though, and we're gonna go. I think we're gonna go with staff acrobat for now. We'll see what happens. Let's do some organizing here. So, Witchlight follower and Trailblazer can get moved down yonder. Control X, Control V like an adult. This is why you want to use your keyboard to navigate around Excel. So when you do shit like that, it just pops it open. Okay. So we now know we want to look into Wisdom, and that Staff Acrobat is going to make our next skill Dex. We have our Adventure Path languages. We have the common Otari languages. We know we're going to be a Flame Druid. We know we want Intimidation. I think that was for the Marshal. I don't remember why I put that there, because apparently I've lost everything. We're going to go with an Archaeologist. So that's great. That is a fantastic building block for any character to start with. So we'll pop this open. So we've got Ancestry, Feat, Class Feat, Background, Druid. So we need to go up to here to Menu and Character Options, and then allow Game Mastery for your archetype. There we go. Because that is what we do. So Johnny Blaze and our free archetype will be the Staff Master, or Staff Robat, which is obviously not on here, because why would it be? Right, because I should probably put in the prerequisites first, like a real adult. There we go. Acrobatics and athletics and a dex of 16. So let's swap some of this stuff out. So we'll make sure athletics, acro, and then we'll change this to dex 16. So we need a pretty high dex for this, which this might actually limit this build pretty aggressively. So let's start punching in some ability scores. So we'll go back to Path Builder, and because we can't get the feat yet, let's do our ability scores, and they are, here we go, set abilities. We need to choose our ancestry boosts. Oh, you know what? We actually need to choose an ancestry, so let's backtrack and do that, because I forgot that was the thing that we had to do. Let's throw that in here, ancestry, and then we'll go back to that Abomination Vaults, that breakdown of Otari, because that's going to tell us what is most commonly found here. So humans, halflings, half-elves, dwarves, gnomes, half-orcs, goblins, others. So that is a pretty solid list, actually. It's pretty representative. Those aren't the classes that I would tend to lean towards, or the ancestries that I would tend to lean towards. But that doesn't mean we can't look into them. I have no interest in playing a gnome, so we can just skip past that. I think I'm kind of leaning towards dwarf. So let's pop open the dwarves. I love the idea of this stout, nimble, this stout, nimble dwarf spinning around a pole like a little rock. Then we can look at some of the uncommon ones, like the catfolk and the Gripply would be kind of fun. Hobgoblin would be interesting. Kobold Leshy. Leshy could be fun. Let's lizard folk. Let's pop that open. I'm just going to avoid the rare ancestries for now. Tengu was pretty interesting. Rat folk could be interesting. But there's this underlying constant of fire, and I think we've kind of determined that they are going to be an outcast. So they're outcasts, probably because of the fire ability. So even something like a Leshy could be interesting there. You could accidentally burn yourself. But we want a hermit, something that's not reliant on society or other culture. Otherwise, you'd have to explain first of all, how they got to 8th level by themselves, and second of all, why they haven't just straight up gone insane. So more social creatures like leshies and kobolds, I think, are kind of weaned out just based on that alone. But we can always go back and, it's your ancestry, so make it, tailor it to whatever you want it to be. The ancestries in this game are really just a skin for your character. So that's not really how I build my characters, but your character can be whatever you want. But since my first instinct was dwarf, because I love the idea of this hockey puck just spinning around a staff, let's take a look at the dwarf. So we've got society, which is cool. Alignment, religion, ancestries, mechanics. We're just going to scroll right down to mechanics. So we've got a slow movement speed, which is interesting. Interesting languages, which is great. Dark vision, also fantastic. Clan dagger, I don't give a shit about. We've got a wisdom ability boost and a charisma ability flaw. So these are all things we've already kind of talked about building into this character because they're in exile. We've already decided. I've already decided we're going to do a charisma dump. My brother has entered the chat. Hello, Dave. And I was told that I am supposed to give a shout out to my good buddy Josh. This is his Star Wars glass he gave to me. He gave me the whole set of 4. They're the McDonald's ones. This is Luke and Yoda on Dagobah doing Dagobah shit. So, thank you. It's a perfect glass for my pink water. So dwarf fits, like all the ability boosts and the ability flaws fit based on what we have, or what I've kind of established on the stream, which is great. So dwarf is absolutely a front runner. So let's throw that into ye old budget spell sheet. Dwarf. Command K, Command V. Okay, lizard folk. Move through societies with steely reserve of predators. Cool, I like it. Demonstrate extreme patience. I like it. Solutions to problems. I like it. Beholden to tradition and have ancient knowledge. Also cool. Strength and knowledge of natural areas. So that would fit pretty well with the druid. And they've got these backgrounds which are great. So we've got scout in there, which is cool. Drune Uruxi. So strength, wisdom, great. Intelligence is the flaw. I'm not 100% down on that. But that doesn't mean, you know, it won't fly. We gain a claw attack, which is cool. It's agile and finesse. So in Pathfinder 2e, when you attack twice in a round, instead of there being like there's a static modifier. So if you're attacking with your strength and it doesn't have the agile trait, your second attack is -5 and your third attack is -10. And when it becomes agile, it becomes -4 and -8 instead. So you essentially gain a +1 boost to those. And finesse is also interesting because it would allow me to use my dexterity modifier for the attack instead of your traditional strength. So this is great. It also gives us a 25-foot speed, which is a little bit higher than the dwarves. Yeah, I don't know shit about the lizard folk, but I like it. I've always wanted to play a lizard folk, so let's throw them in there. Okay, rat folk. Pride in large extended family and stay in contact with everyone in it. So that's probably going to be a dip right there. Dex intelligence, strength flaw, size small. Yeah, let's pull a shoot on rat folk. Let's take a look at goblin next. Strive to prove that we have a place among civilized people. Absolutely not. Fight tooth and nail to protect yourselves and friends from danger. Probably, yes. Assumes you can't or won't read. I love it. Society, small form tribes. Dex charisma. No, we do not want that charisma boost. I think and we definitely don't want the wisdom ability flaw. So goblin is out. Humans. 2 free ability boosts. Love it. Clean and easy. And then we can always let's look at half human heritages, because I don't think a straight human is interesting. Is the most interesting. So we got half elf, half orc. Obviously, I've played enough half elves, but a half orc could be cool. Let's check out the half orc. Let's check out the half orc feats, because there's not a whole lot. Oh, these are just all the human feats. Dragon spit is kind of cool. General training, gloom seer, iron fists. Okay. Naturally toughened. Okay, I like it. But you know, Gildish punch. So let's try and pull back from the punch. So I think we're gonna go dwarf. I like it. I think we're gonna go dwarf. So we're gonna go. So it's gonna be a dwarven, flame druid, staff acrobat, archaeologist, which is probably the worst build in the world. But this sounds fun as hell to me. So that's great. So we'll change our ancestry to dwarf. Accept. And we need heritage. So dwarven heritage is our ancient blooded, anvil, death warden, elemental, forge, oathkeeper, rock, strong blooded. Let's start with elemental because he fire. Connection to Torag, plane of fire. Love it. Love it. Mwangi Expanse. Okay. Energy Burst. Once per day. For 2 actions, I can just erupt 1d6 fire damage to adjacent characters. Okay. We're going with Elemental Dwarf because this already falls, like, it just synergizes so well with that concept of somebody who couldn't control their powers and was exiled. So that's great. So we're going to go Elemental Heart Dwarf, which is perfect. I think that's a really cool ability. And I think we're essentially building Havoc here, which is I'm here for. Havoc's one of my favorite X-Men. So we're gonna go Fireheart. Let's open that up. Okay, and let's take a look through our first level dwarven feats. So we can. How do we filter by level here? Level 1, 2, 1. There we go. Okay, so let's take a look at these first level dwarven feats. Adapted Vision, Black Powder, nope. Avenging Glory, temporary HP when somebody dies. Hopefully that doesn't happen. Clan Pistol, Clan Edge. Excuse me, nope. Dowdiness, calm and collected in the face of imminent danger. Let's pop that open because that sounds cool. Weapon familiarity. Obviously, we're going to open that up. Explosive savant. No, thank you. Eye for treasure. That would roll with the archaeologist. Fire savvy. Obviously, we got to open that up. Forge days rest. Let's pop that open. Stone cutting. Surface culture. Unburdened iron. Ancestral. No. Surface culture. No. Okay, so let's start with those. Dowdiness. At the end of our turn, you reduce your frightened condition by 2 instead of 1. That could come in real handy based on the adventure we're playing. Weapon familiarity. We gain access to uncommon dwarf weapons for the purposes of proficiency, which is cool. And we're auto-trained in pick, battle axe, and warhammer. Interesting, because I think I want to play kind of an angry druid. So let's throw that on the list. Weapons. Eye for treasure. This really flows with the training crafting checks to recall knowledge. In addition, crafter's appraisal. Okay, so the reason I'm still interested in this is because we're not delving into the actual mechanics of crafting, and nothing is reliant upon it. This just gives me the opportunity to essentially identify non-magical treasure. And David in the chat is telling me that I need a Cyclops wizard companion. Yeah, I mean, I'd be here for it. And then I guess we need to figure out who'd be Vulcan, the youngest brother. If for those of you who have read Deadly Genesis, let's throw treasure in here. Let's try and spell it right. It's probably still not right, but I don't think I care. Fire savvy. We gotta look at fire savvy. Grown up. We've dealt with smoke and flames. Flat check to remove persistent fire is 10 instead of 15. Yeah. Suffocation or smoke and ash. Okay, so thematically, this goes on the list. Mechanically, not so much. But I'm a slave to the story. Forge days rest. So as long as I rest for 12 hours, you gain the effect of fast recovery and can go 20 hours without becoming fatigued. Oh man. Okay. I love this for the way that we play, and we can just keep going on and on and on. Fast recovery is a really cool feat. The problem is the prerequisite con 14, but we get twice as many hit points from healing. So ideally, I'm going to be able to heal. Like that's one of the druid is going to be primarily a controller and then secondary a healer, because in a party of 3, pretty much everybody should be a secondary healer. We've had some really close scrapes that I don't know if we're going to always be able to get out of. So let's get rid of Forge Days Rest. I like Eye for Treasure. I like Dowdiness. And I like Fire Savvy for the flavor. But also, I think we're going to cut Fire Savvy because if he's good at his powers, he shouldn't need to breathe smoke. So let's cut Fire Savvy. That leaves us with Eye for Treasure and Dwarven Dowdiness. So again, Dowdiness reduces the frightened condition by 2 instead of 1, which is really cool. And Eye for Treasure gives me crafting, recall knowledge, and crafter's appraisal skill. So crafter's appraisal is I can use crafting to identify magical items instead. We're going to go with Eye for Treasure. This is going to be a Tomb Raider Fire Dwarf. Oh, weapon familiarity too. Okay, let's go back and let's check out the Druid weapon list, because maybe there's something. Maybe I do want those weapons. So sometimes Druids, at least in 5e, are okay. He's just trained in simple weapons. But what we need to do is actually check the anathema. If you perform anathematic to nature, magical abilities. Okay, we using metal armor or shields, not weapons. Despoiling natural places and teaching the druidic order to non-druids. And let's check out our flame druid anathema. Allowing unnatural fires to spread in a way that harms the environment. Okay, so we're cool there. So we can take dwarven weapon feats, and it won't clash with our class. But I think I think we're gonna go with Eye for Treasure because I like that idea. Like they were exiled from their clan by setting shit on fire too hard, and then to make a living they started dungeon diving essentially. So this character is going to be an 8th level veteran dungeon diver, kind of like a Gloomstalker in 5e. So let's get rid of that. We'll move treasure up to the top. There we go. So we know we have a Fireheart Druid who is going to be Elemental Heart, the exploding chest, and the feat will be, there we go, Eye for Treasure. Okay, first level almost done. Let's get into the ability scores here. So this one's got to be Dex, Con, Wisdom, and then there's a Charisma dump, which is great. Let's change Dex strength to Dex because we need that 16 Dex in order to get that the archetype we want. So we'll pop that up to 16 right there. We'll pop the Wisdom to 16. We'll make the background. You know what? A Con boost in isn't going to hurt me too much. So we'll do Dex, Con, and Intelligence. That looks all right. Cam, hit me up if this doesn't look all right. But I'm okay with that for now. Okay, and now we can go down to our archetype, and we can select. Hopefully that Staff Master shows up. Oh, because I need to pick the skills too. Jesus, James. Skill training. Okay, so we're already trained in acrobatics. We need to be trained in athletics to get it. We're going to be trained in crafting because of the Eye for Treasure. -1 to all that stuff. Let's do medicine as well and survival. Por qué no? There we go. There's the crafting. Finish there. And survival. There we are. Okay, now we should be able to get that acrobat. There we go, Staffrobat. Okay, so we need to take a boo back to Archives of Nethys, and our next on the list is our class feat and our skill feat. So let's do skill feat first because I find them to be less interesting. But we know we've got acrobatics and athletics. And I'm leaning towards athletics. So there's climb. Oh no, these are skills. Feats. Athletics. Okay. Armor assist, combat climber, hefty hauler, quick jump titan, wrestler. I really like that feat, but we're going to get something very similar from the staff acrobat, so let's just call it there. None of these first level feats speak to me, so let's check out survival, because that's going to be their thing. Experience tracker is kind of cool. Survey wildlife. Terrain expertise might be it, actually. So terrain expertise, we get a +1 circumstance bonus to survival checks. Excuse me, in our terrain of choice. And since we are essentially a dungeon diver, that terrain of choice could be underground. So terrain expertise might be it. None of this stuff really... A lot of that stuff kind of gets hand-waved from being a druid. So let's check out acrobatics real quick. Catfall, quick squeeze. Steady balance is good. Acrobatic performer is good, but I don't want to go down the performance route. So let's just make it easy on ourselves and let's go with terrain expertise. You know what? Let's go with natural medicine. Yeah. So natural medicine allows us to use nature to treat wounds. And the reason that's going to be important is because we don't, the idea is that their secondary concept is going to be a healer. And if they're already trained in nature, I can remove that training from medicine and put it somewhere else. So we'll take that out of medicine and let's put that into... Let's put it into thievery because again we've got a dungeon diver, like he's an archaeologist. He's a tomb raider. Great. So now we don't have to fuck around with medicine. So let's go back and let us close out a bunch of this shit. And let's find us a class feat. This to me is when shit starts to get fun. I love picking feats. All right, animal companion, cool. Fire lung we've already got because of our flame order. Reach spell could be cool. It extends our spell's range by I think 10 feet. Verdant weapon. Let's crack that open. So I'm not 100% sure what that does, but I think that's the shillelagh-like thing. Cultivate a seed that sprouts into a wood and staff or vine. 10 minutes. Single level 0 weapon while holding the imprinted seed. Single action interact. Can be etched with runes or talismans as normal, which are suppressed when the weapon is in seed form. And it's our primal focus. Yeah, we're definitely going with Verdant Weapon. This is a really cool spell because I can just etch runes into the seeds and I can have, a striking seed that is essentially something that I can just interact and turn it back into a seed and throw it in my pocket so I never have to sheath it. And when it's out, it acts as a primal focus, which is absolutely fantastic. And a staff does 1d4, which is less than ideal, but or another weapon, so it doesn't have to be a staff. But I like it. I like it to start. And we can at least, throw on a striking rune or something like that later down the line. There also isn't a whole lot of other stuff here that's really doing it for me. Reach spell, and I guess hey, let's give animal a companion its due. What is a young animal companion? Arboreal sapling, so I could just have like a shrub that follows me around. That'd be kind of fun. Oh no, gotta be a member of the leaf order. Bat, a bear, a beetle, a bird, boar, camel, capybara. I can have a capybara. I would fuck with that. For those of you who don't know, I keep guinea pigs, which are also rodents. And I've kept rats in the past and hamsters and stuff like that. And I love rodents. Anybody who's listened to the LMNOPs can tell for sure. A moth is a giant fruit-eating moth. Okay. Like a moth to the flame. That could be interesting. Pangolin, which is pangolin is like a real-life sand shrew. They're really cute and fun. They're supposed to be pretty delicious too. Yeah, a shrubbery. Yeah, real life sand shrew. That could be kind of cool. That'd be a fun little animal companion. They're pretty cute. I wonder if they're also rodents. Here we go. It could be a rhinoceros. Riding drake. Scorpion, shadowhound, shark, snake, whatever a terror bird is. Oh, it's a pterosaur. Got it. That is a mythical creature, a vulture, a water wraith, or a wolf. I kind of like the idea of a pangolin. That could be fun. 1d6 persistent bleed damage. It's medium size, so it's not small. And it has a single action to defense curl, which is pretty great. Shades of sand shrew again there. But it can unfurl as a single action, which is cool. Huh. I don't hate this. I don't hate this at all. +2 to AC. What was the other one I was looking at? Hyena, horse. I mean, really, the only other one is a bear. Let's be realistic. Or a capybara. What does a capybara do? Distracting spray. Okay. Peas on the target, who then must make a fortitude save. If successful, the creature is clumsy for 1 round. If they fail, the creature is clumsy for 1 minute, which is, a penalty to your dex, which is fine, but also highly situational. It does have a headbutt, though, which is kind of cool. What does the penguin's attack? Okay, the pangolin just runs up against you and hits you for 1d8. What about a bear? Bear would be kind of fun. Maybe we could skin it as an owl bear. It's got a 1d8 jaw, 1d6 claws, which are agile. It's got a bear hug, so if it's successful with its last strike, the target is also grabbed. Interesting. I like that a lot. Verdant weapon or a bear, or a sand shrew. That is a tough call. What are the animal companion rules? So if it dies, animal companion rules. Is the minion trait, gains 2 actions if we use 1 action to command animal. It needs a week of downtime to replace it. Oh my. That is so long. That is like adventure breaking long. I like it, but one of the underlying themes of Stemming the Tide is that it is a struggle. It is a constant push to get to the next level, and we're kind of against the clock. So I think we're gonna have to go with Verdant Weapon, which is not my favorite, but it makes the most sense. Apparently, I don't have access to Animal Companion anyway, so Call the Wilds. Ooh. 10 minutes to replace one of the Druid spells with summon animal or summon plants and fungi. That is really cool. We can choose another order, which I'm not really interested in. Let's go with Verdant Weapon, I think. See if that becomes a mistake later. Okay, so we have our background. So we've got a dwarf, archaeologist, druid, who was at one point from Otari. I should write some of this stuff down. From Otari, exiled after a fire-related incident. Dungeon dove to make a living. Returned to their home after news of Gauntlet reached them. Okay, cool. So now we have an excuse for pretty much any fucking language we want. Which is great. So let's do that next. So I think that's under details. Languages none selected. Okay. So we get one bonus language. And since you spend a lot of time underground, what do we want to take? I'm gonna go with Undercommon. I know I almost always pick Undercommon, but it's called Undercommon for a reason. Yeah, Scott says classic fire-related incident. Absolutely true. Burned down their house and were thrown out of the clan. Okay. So now we have a story. We've explained why the character hasn't been around until now. We have the class. We got the heritage, ancestry feat, the order. We got their extra language because they only get one because I did not do the intelligence bump. So what is next on our list? Next on the list is actually just the next couple of levels. So it's 7:45. I think I'm going to call it pretty shortly here But let's, since we've already done level 2, let's just move on to level 3. Let's select our general feat. See if there's anything interesting here. Folk downsing. Yeah, absolutely not. Keen follower. +3 circumstance bonus when we are following an expert. Interesting. Pick up the pace. No. Prescient planner. Take 1 minute to remove. Okay. I actually really like prescient planner. It's very shades blades in the dark, because you can just decide that you have an item, which is really interesting, but I don't think it really flies with the character that we're building. Untrained improvisation. Proficiency bonus to untrained checks is half our level +0. But after 7th level, it becomes our full bonus, which is interesting. I also really like thorough search because of we've been Mr. LaRocque in the chat has informed us that pangolins are in fact Folidota. Okay. I have never heard of that class before, but I appreciate it. Yeah, so I'm going to go with untrained improvisation because I think this guy's seen some shit. And being able to roll pretty much any skill at half my level is pretty great. So let's go with prescient planner or untrained improvisation. And then we're going to do our skill increase, which I don't think we can do to master just yet, can we? Oh, we can do an expert. I hadn't really thought this far ahead. So what I will normally do now is I'll kick back to Archives of Nethys and start looking at some of these skills. So are there any higher level survival skills that really interest me? Legendary guide, legendary survivalist, folks downsing, that's not natural. You know, that's actually kind of interesting. That's not natural. Let's shut some of these down. If you're a master at survival, we come to you get a 6th sense to creatures that aren't part of the natural order, +1 to initiative checks when at least one of your enemies is an aberration, fey, mutant, or undead. And this is a reaction. And the only prerequisite is expert in survival. So I actually really like that. So we're going to do a survival boost so I can take that later down the line. So survival. Cool. And that gives us level 3. Level 3 path builder automatically put in alertness, which is cool. Expert perception and expert fortitude saves. So level 4, we're going to do a skill feat. And this is where we're going to try and take that survival one that I was just talking about. That's not natural. There we go. Perfect. We get our archetype feat. So we'll go over to archetype. So when you pop this up, these are all dedication feats. You want to go over to archetype class feats. So bullying staff is the only one we can take, which is great. And then we get a class feat. So Call of the Wilds. Yeah, that's the same one. Cryptic spell. You hide your magic. Okay, I like this one a lot. So essentially, when you cast a spell, we attempt a nature check and against the target's perception DC. And if they don't succeed, they immediately the components are unnoticeable. So I really like cryptic spell. Elemental summons. So I can spend 10 minutes to replace one of the spells with summon elemental at the same level, which is cool. I like that. Connection of flame and heat to bring full force. Fire resistance equal to half your level, +1 circumstance bonus to saving throws. Against fire. I also really like that. But I think we're going to go with elemental summons because I like the idea that, you know, this guy, he's seen some shit, but he's also smart enough to know that, okay, I can't get by this, so I'm going to sit down, spend 10 minutes, figure this shit out, and call in for backup. And this backup isn't an animal, it's not another human, but it is another ally. So we're going to go with summon elemental summons. That covers 4th level, which is great. 5th level, we get our ability boost and our skill increase again. So we want to boost Wisdom, Con, and Dex for sure. I'm also going to take intelligence because I don't... you know what? I'm going to boost strength just in case. You never know when a 12 strength is going to come in handy, and that +1 modifier can be very powerful. So we'll do the strength boost. Then back over here to our skill increases. So we're going to go back to that that chart on Archives of Nethys. So we've already done survival. So let's take a look at acrobatics. Is there anything expert in acrobatics? Nimble crawl, rolling landscape, slippery prey. Slippery prey is kind of cool. Able to escape bonds more easily. So we reduced the multiple attack penalty for escape checks to -4 and -8, as opposed to 5 and 10 because it's the attack trait and all that. Let's check out athletics. See if there's anything there that interests me. Lead climber, powerful leaper, rapid mantle, slippery prey again, which is cool. Nothing really strikes me there. So what else do we have? We got crafting. We're already trained in crafting. We're trained in nature, occultism, and thievery. So let's go look at crafting. So we can snare craft, magical craft, specialty crafting, tattoo artist, tweak appearances. Those are cool. They don't jump out at me. Let's see what thievery's got. Pickpocket, subtle theft, wary disarmament. Okay, I like wary disarmament. Yeah, so let's go with wary disarmament. So again, he's a dungeon diver, you know, he's needs to be able to turn off traps. So we will, for that skill increase, we will bump thievery to expert. Finished. There we go. And then we need our ancestry feat. Blast resistance. Nope. Clan protector. Nope. Defy the darkness. Using ancient dwarven methods to fight enemies wielding magical darkness. You've honed your dark vision and swore not to use such magic yourself. So we can see through magical darkness, which is cool. I like that. Fey influence. No thank you. Sheltering slab. No. Okay, so let's go with that dark vision one. Defy the darkness. Cool. All right, level 6. Let's do that skill feat we just talked about, which was efficient explorer. Okay, we're not doing a hex crawl, so that's fine. It was a thievery one, I think. Yeah, slippery prey, tattoo artist, wary disarmament. There we go. All right, and for our 6th level class feat, advanced elemental spell. You gain the Advanced Order Association. You gain combustion from Flame Order. I don't know what that is, but that sounds metal. Druidic Orders. Flame. Oh, I should probably just search it. Combustion. There we go. You ignite a creature in lasting flames, 48 fire and 2d6 persistent fortitude save. No saver sucks, so if it's success, it's half damage and no persistent, which is cool. So let's do that. We should take a look at current spell. Yeah, air, water, whatever. So let's do advanced elemental. That's great. And our advanced elemental is going to be combustion. Okay. Now our archetype feat, easy enough, is staff sweep. Okay. Level 7, general feat, ambush tactics, always great. Efficient explorer, flicks it down some. Toughness. And then that skill increase will be Mastery in Survival. And I think that's where we're going to call it for today, folks. Big thank you to Pathbuilder and Archives of Nethys and the Pathfinder Wiki and Paizo themselves for putting together this great game. Thank you all so much for following along with my general character build. I might do another stream later on down the line where I actually flush the character themselves out as opposed to just a mechanical build. But let me know if you'd want to see that. This will be available as a VOD on demand, and all of our links are down in the description, including to all those resources we used, as well as a link to our free Discord, which you should absolutely pop on by and say hello. We really appreciate it all the time. So thank you so much for listening, for sharing this with me, and we'll see you around.